Ugh, it's not warm enough. It's cold. Forgive me. I don't feel like looking nice, and I barely wanted to get out of bed. You're lucky I have this jacket, because it feels like I'm wearing a blanket. So, I feel like I'm still in bed, but I'm standing up. We've got another Felix Colgrave video. Thank God, I've been waiting. I've been waiting for so long. It came out, I think, in December, or maybe November. Either way, it came out last year, so I'm a little behind on getting this video done for it. But today we're talking about Felix Colgrave's new video, Throat Notes. And boy, am I excited. Throat Notes is not like its predecessor Double King in that it has a cohesive story. In fact, it is more of a loose auditory experience. I think that's the best way to put it. There is technically a main character that reoccurs throughout the entirety of this film. And it's a frog that has no name, I think. Otherwise, this story is basically, from what I read, the sounds you would hear in your backyard if you lived in Tasmania, which Felix Colgrave does. He's an Australian animator, so a lot of the noises he found were either online, from his own backyard, and things that he mixed together to make it sound a lot more surreal, if you will. And I really appreciate that about this. And you can tell just right off the bat that I don't know if they improved or he just was testing something new. I've watched a lot of his own stuff and he always improves through every new video, and he has like new different things that he tries out, I guess. This one was very fluid. Oh my goodness. I would say it's it's just psychedelic and pretty. Everything was moving. The background, clouds and trees and just everything. And it's an immersive thing to watch, and it's what's the best way to put it? It is not just a film. It is an experience, which I appreciate. So let me tell you what I learned just by watching this short film. I have a list and I will read it exactly as I wrote it. Every animal has a star in their throat, determining the sound that they will make. That is a very prevalent theme throughout this film, especially with the frogs. When you see them making noises, a star will show up in their belly area. So keep that in mind. You can steal these stars and connect them to computers, put them in trees to make the trees sing, and even use them in different animals. Crazy. Wombats smoke cigars and wear hats to wander out into the great outdoors. Good to know. If you poke a frog enough, he'll steal your voice and call you a big weirdie, which is a big insult, and you don't want that to happen. And the last thing I wrote is wombats are assholes. Now I'm assuming it's a wombat. Please, I'm not from Australia. I don't know marsupials like the back of my hand. Please don't come for me. If you want to tell me what it is, please respectfully tell me in the comments, and I will be like, oh, I have been informed. It is not a wombat, it is X, Y, and Z. But for now, I'm calling it a wombat. Because that's what I believe it is. Like I said, it's called Throat Notes, and it works along the lines of this marsupial named, I don't know, Jim Bob or whatever, kidnaps a frog right next to its resting place and takes the star out of its throat and connects it to his computer and is messing around with it and decides, hey, why don't we just put it in a tree and make the tree sing like a frog. Very visually pleasing, also kind of horrifying in many aspects. And in the end, this frog who is being pestered by this human with a toilet scrub brush ends up getting so pissed off that it steals his voice, absorbs it, brings him back down to earth, and he calls him a big weirdie because he likes to poke frogs. The end, that's it. really not much to this other than it's really pretty and it sounds great. It sounds fantastic. One thing I do want to note about this though is that it is while it contains a very constant style throughout, it doesn't really deviate. You can tell it is Felix Colgrave style. However, there are certain points where you watch it and you're like, this feels like this, and this feels like it comes from this, and which is not a bad thing. I actually really like that about this. There's a specific scene that I really enjoy. It's when the wombat brings the frog into his house. He puts the frog on the table on his back, and the frog pretends to be dead. He lights up a cigarette, he takes a big puff of it, and he does like this not laugh, but kind of laugh. He looks like a Disney villain. I'll put an example to kind of simulate what I'm talking about, because it was very visceral. And then there's that next scene where he picks up the frog, takes out the star, puts the frog back down, and the frog is just angrily staring up, and it felt like something from like old Disney. And I kind of liked it, and it was very nostalgic, and I enjoyed that greatly. Another example is there's the next scene where the wombat hooks the star up to his computer, and he pulls up the interface, and it looks like something from like one of Kobe Soft Joe's art pieces, and it looks great. It looks like if Felix and they had collaborated, which, honest to God, if that ever happened, I would lose my mind. I would lose my mind in an instant. That would be so much fun. I mean, if you haven't seen Kobe Soft Joe's stuff, which I'll put an example right here because they deserve to be known, that would be super cool. They both do some surreal stuff. They both do really great animations. Kobe Soft Joe is more of a 3D Blender softcore kind of modeling stuff, softcore slash weird core. I guess that's the best way to put it. And I thought that was really neat. Those are the big two things that I noticed, but I'm sure there were other things that I did. One thing to note is that when I was a kid, I had a huge fear of seeing eyes glow in the dark, and this was specifically with animation. So like things like in The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, I was very scared of that scene where he like the Grinch pops his head into Cindy Lou Who's furnace, and he just peers out with his golden eyes, and I remember I was so scared by that scene. There's a lot of scenes like that in Throat Notes, and I felt my childhood fear like surface a little bit. I was like, this creeps me out so badly. And it's like, I love it and I hate it. And I ended up loving a lot of the things that really freaked me out as a kid. Like there was a cover from the Berenstain Bears where I think they went like camping or something, and there's a bunch of eyes everywhere, and I love that cover so much. Sometimes I see it and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember the fear. I remember the fear. I just don't like eyes glowing in the dark, apparently. I don't know where that stems from. I don't. And that kind of brings me to my next point, which this film showcases a fine line between mild horror and humor. The scene that I can think of specifically is when the wombat is throwing the star into the tree, and the tree like is making noises, and he's pretending like it's a huge performance thing for all the other animals in the forest, and he's bowing and like his hat's off his head, and there's all these other throat note things in his hat, and one of them is a cat noise, and this cat who is mauling this bird, it's a very horrific scene, looks over, hears the voice, and hisses, and is just like, ah. Some of you probably don't think that's horrific. For some people it probably would be. It's like, oh, that's a little scary. It's a little scary, just a teeny tiny bit. But in all reality, I really appreciate that about Felix Colgrave, and I'm very happy I got an opportunity to see this video because, man, it was a feast for the eyes. I've rewatched that thing so many times. So many times. Oh, yeah, another thing that I appreciated about it is that there are so many strange angles that you will see in certain parts. For example, there is one human being in this movie, this short film, and of all the scenes that you see him in, every single one of them portrays him as a blob, and you'll see him from like weird angles, like he's like crouched down, but you're like up like this, and then when he turns his head, it's not him turning its head, it's like the skin morphing, and you see his ear appear, and it's really fun. Or like his eyes and nose are like inside of his mouth, and like when the throat note is being pulled out, you see it being pulled in and it jumbles. And I kind of like that. I thought that was a really fun thing to do with a character. Character design can be really fun, especially if you're going really abstract. And well, the human form is not abstract technically. The way it can be structured can be, and I really appreciated that. I am saying appreciated a lot. It's like being given a meal from Felix Colgrave. That's what this feels like. It's 6 minutes long, but it feels like it could be analyzed for hours. Australia is full of scary creatures, and I don't wish to go there. Maybe I do. I don't know. Yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, I would highly recommend it. Also, I would recommend that you subscribe if you can. I'm not saying you should. Subscribe to the man's Patreon, because my God, it's so worth it. Every post he puts up is quality. It's quality. The perks you get with it, there's like a $70 tier that's always sold out, that you can get one of his illustrations, and it's cool. One day, maybe I will subscribe to it for 1 month and get one of his prized illustrations, but I doubt that will ever happen because it's always sold out. And I mean, it is always sold out. Yeah, but I'm currently on a $5 tier, and I love seeing whenever he posts something from like one of his upcoming videos. He was posting, I was on and off of his Patreon for a while, so I'm currently back on. I've been on for like 2 months now. He'll post like GIFs from his upcoming videos, or he'll post like fun little projects he does. Honestly, I really appreciate a lot of his work, and I don't know, he's one of those artists that you're just like, oh yeah, I crave the next thing he does. I legitimately do. So yeah, I'm just gonna plug his Patreon, because why not? I don't have a Patreon of my own. Subscribe to his. Anyway, yeah, that's all I have for this video. Next up will be Long Gone Gulch, which will be a story-based one, so that one will be a bit longer, but I'm looking forward to making that one. I also have one that is a surprise one that may or may not be up your alley, but it is something I've been obsessed with for months now, and I just have to talk about it, or else I will literally explode, because that's just how it is. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm so happy you guys are here. I'm so happy to have more people joining me. Like, holy hell, I didn't expect to get more people. And I think they're coming from the Big Top video. So if you're watching this after you watch the Big Top video, or you see me in your subscriber feed, hello. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. I hope I can bring you some quality entertainment and help you find some quality entertainment, because that is what I'm here for. To help find some quality entertainment and talk about whatever the fuck I want to talk about. It is what it is. Alright, and with that, you guys have a wonderful day. Stay safe, stay hydrated, stay well, stay away from COVID. And I will see you guys soon with Long Gone Gulch. Or something else, unless something else pops up first. But I should be next with Long Gone Gulch, so I can't say that fast. It's not fun. Alright, I gotta go. Bye.